class this morning?
Good.
I wasn't even there.
Why?
How many came? Seems to be more people than expected. Right?
Daddy, your
Rather
lecture
than
is
you watch
good.
many people, I think.
Huh?
I'm happy that my dad gave a lecture.
Yeah. Temple of
Harshit,
5, 6 view.
Harshit, look at my t-shirt.
Online, I think the most people watched, I think. 26 or 27.
Online. What? From Hyderabad?
No, not from here only, I think. I saw there's 26 views or something like that.
I t-shirt is looking at honestly, Harshit.
Yeah, it went well actually.
What is the topic?
Transcendental character of Lord Krishna.
Harshit.
Transcendental characteristics of Krishna.
Lord Krishna. When he enters Dwarakala, how he actually queens, how queens,
Pursue.
yeah, how queens actually think of Krishna. What is the relationship between
I
them?
can even do
Krishna
the
and
first
queens.
trip to downwards.
How do you understand actually? So because they are actually like very beautiful and they're very smart and everything. They have so many glances. Even Madana also will fall victim to them because of this Madana attraction. But even though they are so much beautiful, they cannot agitate sense of Krishna.
I can do it.
Krishna is more powerful than all of this actually.
Otherwise, you might fall down the because Ella kids can.
Devotees, come, sit. Let's sit. We're going to discuss the class.
Oh,
Yeah, so
oh yeah.
Hi,
it was a nice verse actually. The 36 verse is a beautiful verse.
First canto, second canto.
First canto, 11th chapter, 36. It goes from 36 to 39. 4 verses. That's the end of the chapter. Well, I think the birth of Parikshit. 4th chapter.
Today you gave a first class in temple. First class, right?
Yeah, that's last.
In the
class.
temple.
In the temple.
Every Saturday we have a Bhagavatam class in the morning.
What is Balgopal class?
Bhagavata.
I thought Balgopal class. Sunday school, I thought my class.
Sit down. Actually, sit down. Okay. Vijayabhakti, you're going to start the class. Mother, come. Tomorrow is a Ram Navami.
Shri Ram.
Yeah, I know that.
You know that?
Yeah, you're going to talk about Ramanavami.
Yeah, can you tell something about Lord Ram?
I clearly don't know.
Whatever you know, tell.
Oh, I don't know anything.
I think, no, you know something about Lord Ram, right?
I don't know something about Lord Ram.
So then we'll find out.
Yeah.
I should find out. Ram is a super Lord, right?
Yeah,
Super
Lord
model?
is Supreme Lord.
Lord.
I heard supermodel. He's also supermodel.
Right.
What else? What else?
He's Supreme Lord.
Okay.
Then he has a bow also. He can shoot them.
Yeah.
He has bow and arrow.
That Prabhu
Okay.
also know.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Bow arrow given to that.
Everybody knows that.
What is the name of Lord Ram's bow?
What is the name of Lord Ram's bow? I never even heard that.
Yeah, true.
Sarangada.
Sarangada. Okay. I'm also hearing from
Like
What
what
is
is
Lakshman's bow?
Sarangada. Sarangata.
Sarangada? You heard
What
it?
is Lakshman's bow name?
Bow. That means I don't know.
What is Lakshman's bow name?
Hey,
That's what
Prabhu.
Prabhu don't know, Drama.
His
Prabhu.
name is Bow.
Name is still Bo.
No. What is Lakshman's bow name?
You say.
What
Prabhu
is
doesn't
his
know.
name? I don't know. So I'm just asking a question.
I also don't know.
Prabhu also doesn't
It's
know.
Lakshman's bow.
Hey, Prabhu.
Lakshman bow.
Lakshman Bo.
Do you know?
Okay, so we'll start.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Sri Ram Navami tomorrow we can meditate so many things which we can learn from Ramayana.
I can eat. That's a fasting day also. Even.
Yeah, we can go back. You can see. I can see it. Fast. So what happened tomorrow? Devotees fast till evening. Remember Lord Ram and Sita, Bharata, Lakshmana, Hanuman, the devotees' activities and Ram's activities. So long time back, one day, a person was sitting there and meditating. His name is Valmiki. So Valmiki, in the previously, he was a hunter. So hunter, then he was transformed into a pure devotee. And then when he, under guidance of his guru, Narada Muni, Then he transformed his character, transformed his life, transformed his lifestyle, everything. And eventually, then he wanted to know. He has some questions. So then Brahma from within inspired him. So and so that he can ask the question. So when Narada Muni came, he asked, I want to know the ideal person in all situation.
So Narada Muni did not give any knowledge, only Brahma through it.
Brahma inspired him,
Oh, okay.
So,
and he sent Narada.
Valmiki is the narrator of Ram's story, right?
What?
Valmiki.
Valmiki is the narrator of Ram's story,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why there's grace in Narada Muni.
Yeah. So Narada Muni comes. Now when Narada Muni comes, he asks, his payable senses, he said, Narada Muni, I wanted to know, tell me about a person who's ideal in all situations.
Ooh.
With his character is exemplary. And whatever situation, whatever the place, whatever the incidents, his dealings, he has done tremendous amount of things, but everything is an idealistic perfection. As a father, as a mother, as a son, as a husband, as a citizen, as a disciple, as a human being, as a friend. So then he said, there's only one person who can like that. Then he spoke about Lord Ram. So he said entire Ramayana. So he heard about it, and then one day, before that actually, he was walking in a forest. Then he saw two birds on the branch, and then suddenly some arrow came and pierced them. Yeah. So then the other
Arrow came and heard the
yeah.
voice.
So the other person who is also a hunter, he was a hunter before. Now this hunter came, and he shot them, and suddenly he spoke out of looking at the compassion. Then he spoke the first Sanskrit words. So then that's where this story continues. So then he knows poetry, and Brahma gave the power from within, and Narada gave the story. Then he compiled Ramayana. So then that's how the Ramayana came into picture. So Ramayana. So we'll just go for the entire story. Bits and bits we'll talk in between. So as you know, Jai and Vijay, so they were cursed, and then they were given option, either they take 6 birds as friends, 3 birds as enemies. So Vishnu gave the option, and they said, we cannot stay without you for six birds. We want to come back to you, so give us a second born, which will become a demons. But then he says, I'll assure you will remember me, but not in a favorable way, but you will remember me. And they chose. So first birth, they came as a Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Second birth, they came as Ravana, Kumbhakarna. Third is Shishupal and Dantavakra. So this story is happening Treta Yuga. Ravana and Kumbhakarna came. When they came from the Brahmin family, very knowledgeable family, scholarship family, scholars. But however, because of his demonic character, so he became a demon. So then he kicked out his brother, which is Kubera, whose place was Lanka, Golden City, the city that made of gold. He kicked him out, and he took over. And then he went to forest and he did a lot of austerities. He did so many austerities like Hiranyakashipu, nobody cannot even imagine. So with that, he got so many powers. Then he started terrorizing, doing so many atrocities. Nobody cannot stop him. And that they all went to Brahma. And Brahma with all the demigods went to Shirodaksai, Mahavishnu. And then in the ocean shore, they saw him, and he says, this is what I desire. Entire world is boiling with this person's atrocities. He doesn't care anybody. He doesn't listen to anybody. He's doing all kind of bad things. So he said, okay, no problem. I can come and kill him, but I need help. So you all should take part in the pastimes. And then Indra, he became Vali. Chandra, Surya, he became Sugriva. Vayu, he became Hanuman, like that. There's so many Nala, Nila, Angada, like there's so many demigods. They all took different parts. And then why they took different, there are some of them are animals, bears, animals, monkeys. So why? Because when Ravana took boons, so he said, he is so confident, he says, I should not be killed by so and so, this and this. But he forgot two things, which is animals and human beings. Because he thought he can deal with them. He can deal with them, nobody cannot defeat. He is very powerful, which he was. But that's the reason all the demigods came as animals to fight. And then Vishnu came as Ram, as a human being, Maryada Purusha. So he never exhibited supernatural power, even though he was a god. So that's his boon was fulfilled, at the same time countered because of his arrogance, because of his overconfidence. So Ram came, and then before he came, there was a king, it's called Dasarath.
Oh,
Dasarath. So he has three queens. What is the queen names? Yeah.
okay.
Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, Sumitra. So now he did one sacrifice, and then through the sacrifice, that sacrifice lady, and that's when Ignapusha came, and then he offered a bowl of sweet rice. And then he gave that to king. He said, you give it to your queens, and based on that, then they will become pregnant and they will give birth to wonderful children. So first he gave that to,
They'll give birth to Ram, Lakshman, and Sita.
yeah, first he gave to Sumitra, Kaushalya, right? And then half he gave it to Sumitra, and Sumitra gave half to Kaikeyi. So she got two halves. So that means they got two children, which is Bharat and Shatrughna. And Ram to Kaushalya, and then Lakshman to Sumitra. So there are four. And then ever since they were born, and then they brought up, what a wonderful loving relationship between all the queens, their servants, the king. And then the king was so jubilant. He was always Ram, Ram, Ram. Wherever he is, he's so attached. Every time, Ram, did he sit down? Ram, did he eat? Ram, where is he? Ram, 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 Ram. Ram is also very fortunate for reciprocating with lovingly to his father. And then days are passing by, weeks are passing by, months are passing by. They're growing up. So there's so many pastimes. It's not much. One day, Ram was adamant. He wanted to have moon. And then he's crying, I want moon, I want moon. There's no moon, you cannot get moon. No, I want moon, like a ball. It looks like so effulgent, white, and then so beautiful moon. And then he said, I want it. And then Dasharatha Maharaj said, okay, this is what he want. And then he got a big mirror, and then he put him in a mirror in such a way that a reflection, he showed a moon. So Ram touched the moon, he was happy. Ram was happy. Like that, so many pastimes. So he was playing with his friends, and every time, wherever Ram is there, but Lakshman never leaves him. Same thing, Shatrughna never leaves Bharat. Bharat and Shatrughna, they were together. And Ram and Lakshman, they were together. So they were actually, Ram is Vishnu as a Swayam Bhagavan, Master God. God as a servant came as Lakshman, Sevak Bhagavan. And Shank and Chakra, they became Bharat and Shatrughna. So it's also said like, Aniruddha Pradyumna. So was Shankarshna is Balaram, Lakshman. So, Vasudeva Krishna, Ram, and Pradyumna Aniruddha is Bharat and Shatrughna. And then Sankarshna is who is Balaram, so nothing but Nityananda Mahaprabhu or Lakshmana. So there's a four. So aspects, and then amshas. So Vasudeva is Krishna's father. Vasudeva is Krishna. So if you put a little stretch, they become a son. Vasudev's son is Vasudeva. Dasarath's son is Dasarathi. Dasarathi. Like in Sanskrit, that's how you pronounce, you communicate. And also, what is Karna's mother name? Radha. He became Radhe.
Radhe.
So Radhe. Yeah. So like that. Kaushalya. She's from Kaushalya Desh. So he became a Kaushalya. Sita. Hare Krishna. Welcome. So like that. So they grew up. They did so many pastimes. As they growing up, they came to the youth. They were around 12 years old. So one day, Vishwamitra came. Vishwamitra is Rajarshi. He was a Raja, king before, he became a Rishi. Very powerful, ascetic, and then very austere. And then he was doing tapasya in the forest, and there's some demons are disturbing. He has a power to kill, but he didn't want to use the power to kill. So because now he became Rishi, that is not his job. Eye job supposed to be done by eye. Hand supposed to do hand job. Right? So like that he says that is not my job. So he comes to Dasarath Maharaj. And Dasarath Maharaj saw him. And Dasarath Maharaj's priest, main priest, what is his name? Vasishtha. So Vasishtha know the power of Vishwamitra in the past. Because Vishwamitra actually competed with Vasishtha. He wants to become a Brahmarshi, but he could not become Brahmarshi, become a Rajarshi. So by the time they became humble. He was very powerful. So knowing the power of Vishwamitra, he said is king. Don't argue, don't say anything, whatever is asked, give him. If you get angry, that's not proper direction. So then he said, okay. Then he asked. He offered him a seat and then worshipped his feet and then properly respected, and then he said, what can I do for you? He expressed, there are some demons are bothering, so I want help. So I want your son. You want my son? He's only 12 years. What can I do? For him, his son, he's only 12 years. So you don't have the power. Even though he knows it because of a fatherly affection, it is covered. And then I can come. I'm a Kshatriya. I can come. But anyway, by the way, who's that demons? This is Subhahu and Mari. So they are the mighty, powerful demons. I heard they are associates of Ravana. And Ravana is more powerful than me. And then how come this 12-year-old boy can fight him, kill him? So then he's going to be killed. And he was about to cry, but he could not say anything. He said, he already given. So he gave the word. You have to give him. I gave the word, but I don't know. I don't even mind to break the word because I didn't want to lose my son. So he has that much of affection. Then Vasishtha told him in his ears, don't worry. Your son is not ordinary person. I know his power. And then he also don't know the power of Vishwamitra. He has the power to kill these demons because he came to you. I think there is a reason. Send him. So okay. So Ram is also Bhakta Parayan. Who is his devotees? He is a servant of his devotees. Bhakta Parayan. So in this life, forgetting his name all the time. Vishwamitra. I don't know why I'm forgetting. So Vishwamitra, he came as his guru. So he's serving menially. So he walked with him, he walked under him, they made the bed for him, they collected the berries, and then feed him, and wash his feet, and massage his feet. And he did not eat till he eats, till he gives a permission. Very, very menially serving. As every day when they get up, and then they move forward and they take rest, and then they took care of him, both Ram and Lakshman. As they move forward, they go into the deep forest. As they went to the deep forest, that's where then they encounter the first demon. So that the she-demon. Who is the first demon in Krishna's pastime? Putana. So who is the first demon in Ram pastime? Tataki. So Ram first hesitant. Oh my God, my Guru said to kill. Then he didn't think twice. Okay, but I have to kill the woman. Woman supposed not to be killed, and then Brahmin supposed not to be killed. Kids not supposed to be killed, and then old people should not be killed when it comes to Dharma Shastra. But however, as the code of conduct to protect Dharma, and if it is necessary, then Ram is showing it's okay, because to protect Dharma is more important. So then he killed the demon, the she demon. When that then move forward. When they move forward, they kill so many other demons, and then finally, we will touch base some aspects of Ramayana, which we can learn the principles. So one of the aspects we are talking is serving Guru, following Guru's order, and then his character. Ram's character is spotless. Whatever he says, that's what he do. Whatever he does, that's what he thinks. Whatever he thinks, that's what he says. Right? So as they move forward, and then eventually they came to Sita's kingdom, and that's where Ram doesn't know why he came, but somehow Vishwamitra brought him there. So brought him there. Eventually, you know the story. So where the Sita was born, and then when he was a little girl, and then she pushed this Dhanusu, Shiva Dhanusu, which is actually there's two versions I heard. One is 300 big men used to carry. Other is 8,000 people. 8,000 people. They carry that Shiva Dhanusu in a chariot, right? So in either case, she was so powerful. She was only a little girl, and then now, who will marry Sita? That person has to be more powerful than Sita. So even with a little finger, she could able to move that Shiva Dhanusu. How is it possible? So that's the reason they put in a Swayamvar, which is where she can swayam. You can come here. You can hear.
Okay.
You're blocking both of them. You can
Okay.
sit there. Yeah. So now I can see. So now, what I was saying, yeah. So now all the kings came. All the kings came, and then like that, even Vishwamitra brought Ram also. You know what is the age that time Ram says? 12. You know what is the Sita's age? 6. 6 years. But olden days, they get married, but they go back to their parents when they come mature age, and then they'll meet. Because at least that time she'll be thinking about him, he's thinking about her, nothing else. That's the reason. So that was the culture before. Now it's not allowed in this Kali Yuga. So she was there, and she was 6 years. Sure. Ram, and of
That's
course.
the same age as me. I'm 6.
You're 6?
Yeah.
But in the Treta Yuga, they were very tall for that particular age. But however, she's shorter than Ram. So Ram comes, he picks that bow, you know, and then before he picks it, he looked at Vishwamitra, and everybody's coming and trying. Even Ravana came, tried, he could not move, and then Ram was standing there, and then everybody's looking at Ram. He was the last person, but some reason Janak Maharaj felt he can. He's not moving. He's not getting up. And then when he's looking at his guru, Vishwamitra, yes, now he can. Till then he didn't even move. So he was looking for permission from his guru. When he gave the permission, he said, "I didn't come here to marry, but I come to." Then he's giving permission to lift. I'll lift it. Now I will aim that and then stretch that string, and then that's what it did. It broke. Then now once it broke, what is the announcements? Those who broke, they had to marry Sita. And then Sita took garland and then came in front of him. And then he's standing there and looking at it, but he didn't get the permission from Guru. So now he was also looking. He's mesmerized to see both of them. You forgot. And then now she's looking at Ram, and then Ram is looking like this, without any feelings or emotions. And then Lakshman suddenly came in front of Ram. He fell in his feet. As soon as he fell on his feet, and Ram bent to lift him and see the garland. That's how Sita Ram got married. So the point here is that he never do anything without asking the permission from Guru. So that is a tadvidhi pranipatnena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshante jnanam tattvadarshana. So now the person whose disciple has to approach the spiritual master. Hare Krishna, please come in. Take the path of humility, approach spiritual master in a humble way, and then render a loving devotion service. Not devotion, loving devotion service. Preeti Purvakam. So in that perspective, the marriage was done. Eventually they came back here, and then the long story short. So So when they grew up, some more time, and Sita grew up, and then she came back to reunion with Ram. Now Shivalinga. And then eventually when Ram was about to coronated, the story of Manthara and Kaikeyi, all the things. So I will touch base some aspects of it. So now when Kaikeyi told, she also loved Ram. She loved more actually the Kausalya. But however, it's a relative word. It's more, that means she's a mother to son to love their children is natural. They can love others as well, but it's not the same. Kaikeyi also loved Ram, but however, Manthara, these are two versions. One is Manthara is poisoned by demigods, because Ram came for the purpose of killing Ravana. So now if he settled down here, so that's one. However, she also has her own. Even Manthara also loved Ram, and when he was growing up. So, but however, she came from the place where that was a natural. That's the father, mother. They were English people. So naturally, that was there in the body also. So it manifests time to time. So the point here is we should be very careful. So we should not listen anybody blindly. You have to go with the stats and facts, experience and perception. You should not believe blindly anybody. So, but however, she used in such a way that, see, now Bharat will become a servant. Ram will abandon him, will banish him. So she used her weakness. She also loved Bharat. But that time, Bharat and Shatrughna, they went to Kaikadesha. What is the Kaikadesha?
Kaikeyi's
Kaikeyi's
brothers.
Current was called Russia. Russia, current name is, that Kaikadesha country name is Russia. So she was from that. So now, the Bharat and Shatrughna visiting their maternal uncle, mother's side relatives. So they were not there. So next day is ceremony, coronation ceremony. So, but however, Manthara convinced Kaikeyi, and the Kaikeyi went into sulking room, and then she was also a favorite queen for Dasarath, and then she did not respond, and eventually she sent a message that she's not happy. And I was thinking everything is, every whole city is in happy mood. They were in jubilant. They're actually celebrating for tomorrow's coronation. Ram is becoming king, and I'll be relieved. And he was also, by then he was already very old. He didn't have children when engaged. So he got this because of this Yajna. So then, okay, he wanted to check it out. He came here. When he came here and see everything is shattered, and she was in the sulking room. Those sulking rooms is in the olden days, in the queens, when they express something, when they are angry, they don't want to talk to king, they isolate themselves. In olden days, nowadays it says like, time out, right? It's like a self time out. So she gave us a self time out, and then she didn't take care of her clothes properly. It was loosened up, hair was loosened up, the flowers everywhere, the jewelry everywhere, decorating things everywhere. And then here comes, what happened? So that's all next. So I want something. What do you want? Remember one time we went for a war, and then that time you were tired and I saved you, and then you gave me 2 boons. I want to use that. What is the 2 boons? I remember. You can ask anytime. He was also in jubilant. You're supposed to be happy. Why are you asking now? See, you have to give me, okay. First thing, I want you to send Ram to forest, banish him. Second, you should make Bharat as a king. As soon as they heard, what do you mean? Are you kidding? Tomorrow is going to be a coronation. Been announced. How can I do this? You're a mother, you love him, but how can you do this? I don't care, you gave me the word. You also said on the name of Ram. And he fell unconscious. And then he could not say. And she sent a message to Ram. And Ram came. Ram came, Mother, I'm at your service. What do you want? So your father could not say, but he told me to tell you that you're banished to forest. Okay, thank you. What else? No second question. He didn't ask. Did he have any WhatsApp message or email? Any proof? So okay, what else? So you should announce Bharat as next thing. Yeah, wonderful, done. Anything else? Nothing else. She was surprised. So is that much renounced? So there's six opulence to Krishna, right? Ram. What is that? Name, fame, power, beauty, strength, yeah, wealth. And then the sixth is renunciation. That renunciation is unfathomable, inconceivable. So he just walked away, nothing else. And then now when he heard other queens, this is what's going on. And then they cried, and the whole city was eventually came to know about this. They were stopping him, they were cursing her, they want to stop Ram, but Ram said, I'm going. And the Lakshman said, he's packing his stuff, I'm also going. How can he go? No, you cannot go. No, this is me. I gave a word to my father, to my mother on behalf of father. See, you're blocking her again. You can sit here.
Okay.
So, what I was saying? Yeah. So then Sita came. Sita was also packing. When Sita came, so where are you going? This is not for you, it's for my brother, it's for me. She tried to convince him. So it was mentioned by Valmiki that she tried everything to convince him, he was not convinced. When finally said, are you Napunchak? I'm supposed to be with you, husband. When she ferociously touched his ego and then said, okay, let's go. So it was mentioned there. Are you important? You're supposed to protect me. You are supposed to be with you. A wife and husband, they cannot never be inseparable. They have to be together. When she used that language,
there's a text in the previous
yeah. Huh?
henpecked husband.
Yeah.
So they're referring that word.
Is it? So when that happened, then everybody got into that, and then renounced everything, put the tree box, and then those days the kings have long hair, so he married hair. Started walking, and then Sumantara came. He's a chariot driver, and then by the time he came to conscious, and he was saying, Ram, don't go. This, so many things. I said, that's fine. That is the greatness of Vasudeva. Vasudeva is also Dharmaparayan. He never said a lie. But when Krishna said, and Vishnu came, first, then eventually became a small boy. Before that, he said, take me to Gokul. And then when Kamsa asked, say that eighth child is a girl. So Krishna is telling him to say lie. So what did he say? He said yes. He lied. When Kamsa came, where is the eighth child? He's not a boy, it's a girl. So when it came here, Dasarath had an option. He could have said lie also, but he was holding. I cannot say, because there's many dimensions of absolute truth. So one of the dimension is this. Like, you could have said, but he did not say it. So he let. Because there's also other story whereby Kaikeyi said, promise on the head of Ram. So then he cannot. Since he did that, he could not say no. So anyway, long story short, so they continue, and Rath was moving on. Entire city came, this trying to stop. The father was crying, mother was crying, and then he has many wives. It's only primary are 3. He has many wives. So none of them have children. So only these 3 have children. So then finally it is said in Ramayana, and then it's getting late. Then Ram came and told chariot driver. Drive fast. Don't look back. So it's another renunciation, kind of renunciation. Even though it's there, but as a duty to do. So, ye tamam prapadyante tam sataya bhajamiham. Krishna says in Gita, right? So he reciprocate. So he wants to reciprocate the demigods that he has to go to forest. So he knows what to do, when, where, and how. That's one of the things he can, he's not sentimental. The sentiments are there. Sentiments is spiritual. It can be spiritual. Sentimental, it can be material. In fact, it's a material. So chariot moved forward. And eventually, Bharat and Shatrughna came, you know the story. And then Shatrughna wants to kill his mother. I don't care, he wants to kill. Bharat says, even I want to, because if I do that, Ram will feel bad, and then Ram will not see my face. So that's the reason I'm forgiving you. So then eventually they came back. They came to the forest in search of Ram. In the meantime, Ram was moving forward. When Ram was moving forward, and then eventually entire city was stopped, and then Sarayu river came, and they crossed that and then moved to the forest. And that's where that the tribal king, what is his name? Guha. King Guha, who's a friend of Ram's father. So, and then he found out Ram came, and he took care of him. And then when that night he's supposed to sleep there, and then now he arranged the bed with a straw and leaves. And then by looking at that, Lakshman felt so bad. How can you do this? This is what we do in the forest. And then he took a vow. Lakshman took a vow. Since I've seen this, Ram and Sita, my worshipful Lord, is going to sleep on the floor on this, I will never sleep again for next 14 years. While Ram was sleeping, he stood as God. And during the Ram was awake, he was collecting the berries, the fruits and vegetables and flowers, and arranging the, making the way path so there is no thorns or pebbles on the walk, and also making the cottages, whatever is needed. Whatever is needed, he was doing immediately. 14 years. So this is one of the things how same God, when he came as Ram, Swayam Bhagavan, he came as Sevak Bhagavan, which is Lakshman, the servant of God, to show Yadyat Achariti Shrestha Tattat Evotajaya Sayat Pramanam Kurite Lokastat Anvartate. Not only he comes, he also shared an example what to follow. But who can serve Ram other than Lakshman? We cannot imitate. So, but we can follow his footsteps 24/7. Same Lord, when he wants to serve Ram, again he also shows what to serve. One day, Ram was sitting there, Sita was there, and the earth was shook. Like, entire, what's happening? Ram, Lakshman says, something's happening here. Then wait a minute, yeah, seems to be some army is coming. Yeah, the Kshatriyas, there are some armies coming, marching, horses, elephants, and these people are coming with a ferocious way. I think it's a Bharat coming. Bharat coming, that Richard, Bharat is coming. He's not happy with his kingdom you gave, but still he's coming to conquer, kill you. I'm going to kill him. Wait a minute. Ram was trying to tell him, no, you don't come to conclusions. Don't come to conclusions. Let's wait and see. So he climbed a big tree, and then he saw army is marching. He said, yeah, that's correct. He came down, I'm going to kill him. Give me the permission. Don't come to conclusion. Who is he? He's a God too. Servant God. What is he saying? In this, we should not follow him. We should follow by doing what not to do. Don't come to conclusions, just hearing. But sometimes that's looking at things also may not be perceived as a truth, real. So he waited, but it was very ferocious. Finally came. As soon as Bharati saw him far away, he came running. He fall at his Ram's foot, and he was worshipping. He was crying. Then Ram looked at Lakshman. He said, "Yeah, I'm sorry." Whoops. And then eventually they had a conversation. You all know he's begging. He did everything, but he says, "I cannot come. I have to go back." And eventually, this is my order. Till then, he said, then he asked his shoes, and then he took him there, and then he didn't go. He stayed outside the city, it's called Nandagram, and then he ruled from there by putting his padukas and his head on the throne. Every day it says that he takes the cow urine and then boil the barley. That's what he used to eat. Bharat. But at least Lakshman was with Ram and Sita. Bharat was for. The Bharat sacrifices, we had to have one day one other class. Oh my God, amazing. What is his mood of service? It's exemplified. Guru of all gurus is who? Balaram. Then he came as Lakshman. So, Ram is teaching Lakshman how to serve. He is the servant of the best servant. We are teaching lesson from Bharat. How can we learn things from Bharat? Amazing, selfless service. He carried the burden of misunderstanding. Nobody believed him. Everybody looked at him, see this guy, this is her son. He's acting all these things. But in the heart, this is what he wants. Even though he did everything, he carried. This is all acting. No, this is what he meant. He really wanted, but he just showed dikavat. So he carried that. Wherever he go, people used to curse on him. Wherever people used to. But eventually they found out. But initial certain time, he was carrying that. We cannot survive even a day. How can you say that? We want justice. We want to prove to the world I'm innocent. Including me. Sitting and talking. I'm just saying. So that's what we can learn. And that person is served by Shatrugna. The same Ram was served by Lakshman within association. Shatrugna serving Bharat in separation of Ram too. So there's so many illustrious things we can learn from Ramayana, from these brothers. So same thing Sita. So life continued, and then eventually this Guha is also served Ram. And then one day they were actually carrying Ram to the Ganges and then crossing other. And then eventually that Sita felt bad. And she looked here and there. She didn't have anything, but she has one ring. She gave it to Ram, give it to Kevat. That boatman name is Kevat. So then Kevat looked at here and there and he's bite here and there. What is this for? What is this for? So Ram said, no, this is a gift for you. He said, are you giving this a gift for crossing you to this river? We have the same one business. You are a god. You carry the living soul after taking back devotion service for many, many lifetimes, finally come to the Vireza river. To other side of Vireza river is Vaikuntha. You do the same thing for devotees. So I have an opportunity to carry you. So I'm not taking anything right now. When I come there, you do same thing what I do for you. Let me do this for you. In other words, he's saying selfless service. And then it is also said, you do know who is Kevat? The Kevat, it is mentioned that one day when Garbhodakshaya Mahavishnu was lying in the serpent and the ocean, and then talking with the Sita, there's so many animals also, fish, sea animals in that sea. There was one turtle. He always wanted to. Sometimes Vishnu put his foot out into the water. So every time he comes, he wants to touch. And Sita says, bring the leg back at the bed. every time. But he had his desire. One day I want to touch. One day I want to touch. So that turtle became a Kevat in his next life to carry this Ram and Sita. Then Sita was not allowing him to touch. So he served her to carry. So how amazing how Krishna works. So how one shot he does many things. So this is so many pastimes we can learn. So life continues. Okay, life journey continues. Move on. Then eventually, then they were living in Dandakaranya, and then one day Ravana come. You know the story. We will touch with the principles, right? The Ravana comes, abduct Sita, and then he took over. And then now Ram and Lakshman found out, and then they were crying, especially crying. And they're walking, he's asking bushes, he's asking air, he's asking the trees, he's asking the creepers, did you see Sita, did you see Sita? But looking at Parvati got bewildered. Is he acting? He's a god. He knows. We all went to shore. Shiva, Parvati, Brahma, everybody pray to kill Ravan, and he said he comes as a Ram, and he's acting. So I wanted to check. So now Parvati came like a Sita, exactly like Sita. And then that time Ram was closed eyes and is hitting his head to the tree. And right next to that, Parvati stood. She's like a Sita. And Ram opened eyes and is looking. He said, Sita, where are you? Where are you? When he see that, he sees there, but he didn't see. He didn't even respond. He didn't even notice that Sita is standing there. And then when he moved this side, Parvati comes this side. He didn't even pay attention.
That's like when he's moving in the center, he's going that way.
Yeah. And eventually, then she understood. He did not recognize. He was not acting. He was really crying. He really feel. And then even though Sita comes, he didn't see. He wants his Sita. Where is my Sita? Where is my Sita? You are not my Sita. So there's so many things, like, that little things which you can learn how be Krishna conscious. So how Ram is conscious of Sita, how we become Krishna conscious. Everything, where you sit, who is around, what to say, how much to say, when to say, who is around. Like, how to be sensitive. Sometimes we take things granted. As you mature in devotion service, you become so sensitive. Your senses become so sharp. Sense object is so sharp. So the same thing here. He's Supreme Personality of Godhead. When he does his Leela, how does he does? So sharp. Every activity so pakka. Every activity. When to say, when not to say, how not to say, all the details. So to the, granular level. So then life continued. Then when Ram and Lakshman, in search of Sita, came to the place.
So I want to color the rainbow.
So when they came to see, then he saw a bird. You all know the story. Jatayu lying there in the blood with the wings cut. And then now he's saying Ram, 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 Ram. And finally Lakshman heard the voice and, hey Ram, I heard the voice, let's go this direction. When they came close to that place and then he saw Jatayu. When Jatayu saw Ram, he was so happy. Then he gave the message, Mother Sita was abducted. Till then he didn't know where he was, where she is, what happened to her. Then he says there is a demon called Ravana. He came, he abducted. I tried to fight. I tried my best. Initially I was about to win. This person, at one point, he used to travel around the globe as if for fun. He's so powerful. There's two brothers, Jatayu and Sampati.
There is a story for Jatayu also,
Like,
Jatayu story also is there.
yeah, tell me what is the story.
I don't remember actually. I heard somewhere, but I
That's not right. They flew and.
That's what the story. So when
No, he will be keep on holding Prabhu because he will not allow Sita to go in the wrong manchi gadiyalo pokunda. He will be keep on holding her.
oh,
Even though he knows that he is not able to fight with Ravana, but still he will be holding.
he tried, he did enough damage.
Yeah, because that is not the good time. If he take the Sita at that time, then yeah, she will not come back.
Oh,
so
I knew.
he was only fighting to finish the time,
Oh.
to get the good time, so that when the time has come, then he left. Then Ravana.
Oh, good to know. I didn't know this.
I heard from Amrita.
Oh. So like that, he was fighting. Then when he heard that, he protected Sita, and then Ram took Jatayu in his hands, and he was nurturing eventually. By looking at Ram, singing his holy name, and his lap, he left. And his Ram was a Kshatriya. he did the final rites to vulture. The vulture is the worst of the birds because it's so for that, even though it's a Vaishnava, whatever the body doesn't matter. That is the point we can learn. Black or white or yellow, animal or rich or poor, or a demon. Prahlad was a demon family, but he was a devotee. So if the Vaishnava doesn't matter, you should not see his caste, creed, and culture, background. So once the person is dedicated to Krishna and Vishnu, we should worship. So one day, Ramanujacharya, so we'll digress into the past time. When it came to Ramanujacharya, Mahapurna, they were living at the same time. Mahapurna is Ramanujacharya's guru's brother, god brother. Ramanujacharya guru is many gurus. One of the guru is Jamunacharya. So from Jamunacharya, he took his god brother. So one day, Ramanujacharya heard this Mahapurna was abandoned. Entire village abandoned him. He did something which is abominable and then abandoned him. He is very knowledgeable, he is a scholar. How can he do this? So Ramanujacharya wanted to find out. So he came to that small place because entire village abandoned him, put him in a place where he cannot come out. No, he cannot see anybody. Nobody cannot see him. He is a Brahmana. He did a more abominable thing. Those days they what do you call that? Discarded him, banish him. So when he went, and then everybody says, don't go. But by looking at Ramanujacharya, nobody cannot say anything. Ramanujacharya is Acharya, so they were a little afraid. So Ramanujacharya went and knocked the door, and the door was open. Went inside. This person sitting there, Mahapurna. And he saw Mahapurna. He's in ecstasy. He's crying in ecstasy. He's so happy, jubilant. So he didn't understand. The story didn't match. Everybody thinking he's crying because if he could not go out to meet his family. So what happened? He said, this is the crux of the story. Kids, you can also hear the story.
No.
Kids, he also can hear the story. Let him play by himself, so you both can hear the story.
It's more disturbing.
Parikshit, he also come. Let the small boy play, and you can hear the story.
Okay.
Parikshit, listen. So this Mahapurna was ecstatic, and then then he asked, "What did you do?" He says, "I did a final rite to a Sudra, a Brahman." Doing a final rite to Shudra in those days, 1500 years, 500 years back, it's not acceptable. That's the reason they banish him. So then he says, you know the Shastra, you should not supposed to do that. Why did you do that? I said, I don't care. This Shudra is Rama Bhakt. He's a Krishna, a Vishnu devotee. And then now, even though he's born in Shudra, he is very mature and very devoted to Krishna. Then when he was born, I got an opportunity. Now I don't care. Even whole world can abandon me. Whole world can banish me. Like my Lord. Then he said this story. The reason I'm saying here, my Lord, which is Ram, or Vishnu or Ranganatha, did a final rites to Jatayu, who was a vulture. I'll follow him. Let these people go what they want to say. Let them say what they want to say. I don't care. He was quoting this incident. That's his name. I was just saying that. You understand the principle, right? Mm-hmm. So Ram was saying, Mahapurna saying, and Ramanujacharya is wonderful. All glories to the devotee who will never forget Lord. All glories to the devotee. Even if the devotee forgets Lord will not forget. So that is the beauty of bhakti. Like, how Ram, in spite of the pain of losing his wife, let's say I'm busy, I'll catch you later, I have something else going on. No, he's so sensitive, this person, and did the final rite. It will take some time. He was in a hurry. Like, it took him, put him in a, Lakshman went and fetched the wood, put him in a fire, blaze it and so how many people get an opportunity? So that's what we can learn. So many stories. So then he continued. Eventually he came to Sugriva. When he came to Sugriva, this is very interesting story. And then these people looks like kings, but looks like ascetics with a matted hair, with a deer skin, but have weapons. And then this particular mountain, Hanuman and Sugriva was there because he was afraid of his brother Wali. Because Wali has a curse, he cannot come to that place. If he comes, he'll be killed. So by escaping him, he was there just to accompany him, because Hanuman is very shastric, is very pure. He sensed dharma is Sugriva's side. That's reason he didn't go towards Wali. At the same time, he did not hate Wali. So Wali knows Hanuman. That's reason he never bothered Hanuman. But he was only trying to kill Sugriva. So he was there, and then Sugriva saw these two people are coming. He thought it's a Wali. Wali, many times, he disguised himself, tried to kill him. So these two people also could be him. Then he sent Hanuman. Hanuman, find out who is these people. Hanuman disguised as and then came, old Brahmin. And then he came in front of him. As soon as he looked at him, he says, "Who are you?" And then Lakshman introduced Ram. He is Ram, son of Dasarath. We came in search of Sita. As soon as he saw him, he saw the master. Then he recognized his master. And then Ram looked at him and he says, "Oh Hanuman, how are you? Very nice garland." And Lakshman looked at him. "I cannot see his garland." And Hanuman had a boon from Brahma that I wanted to serve the best person, who is my master. That person only can see you. A garland I'll give you. You put it on you. Nobody cannot see. When the person see you, recognize that they see you, then he'll let you know that is your master. Then you serve the person. That's where Hanuman fell on feet. My master, thank you very much. Ever since till now, and the future, you will never leave him. Then Lakshman could not recognize, even as the Guru. Then eventually he took him there, Sugriva, and they became friends. And then when Sugriva brought him, first, as soon as he understood he's a king, then they share, we have a common pain because my wife is abducted by my brother, your wife is abducted by Ravana, so we'll share. Then he offered him a seat. Then he ignored Lakshman. And then immediately what Hanuman did? He went and tore one tree branch and then made a little chair and then offered it to Lakshman. Then Sugriva recognized, but he made a mistake. So now the story is that everybody has to pay the price. So Ram loves his devotees, even so do Krishna. So he doesn't want his devotees get offended. So in his different, he can take offense, but he will not tolerate offenses to his devotees. So now comes, so Sugriva says, "Okay, I'll help you. What do you want?" So I'll kill you, brother. So then my brother Wali is very powerful. How do I trust you? So what do you want me to do? Then there's one demon body was there. Then with his little touch, he pushed that 800 kilometers. Yeah, that's okay, very good. That was thrown by Wali. So that one was living. These are dead. It is not that weight. It's not that strong. So okay, then what else you want? So he took an arrow and he shot an arrow. It went to the 7 tall trees. The tall trees you're talking about, this room big. It pierced through them, all 7, and go into the earth and go end at the tip and comes out back to this quiver. Then he saw the power. Oh, Ram is very powerful. Then he agreed. Okay, let's go. Then because he has to go and challenge him. He really wanted to test. So then he went and challenged him. And then Ram and Lakshman was standing behind tree, looking. In between, the fight happened. They were fighting. At over the period of time, Wali took over. Wali's power is Indra. He was one of the person who asked Vishnu to come kill. But now when he came here, he forgot, because carried away with power. That's what happens when you carried away with the name, fame, power, money. Forget the basics. So Guru has to come and kick us. So we should never forget. So otherwise we will be attached to the opulence of Krishna, not him. Once you get the opulence, you get the name, fame, power, then we'll forget Krishna. all the opulences comes, we forget Krishna. When Krishna gives opulences so that we can serve him, because he's pleased, he's giving, then during that happiness, we forget. So that's exactly happened. So these people are fighting. Wali has a power boon that whoever is fighting against him, they get the 50%. He get the 50% of his power. So now eventually Sugriva is losing his power. So then Sugriva is looking, where is Ram? He's not killing him. He got nice beatings, like almost about to death, and he ran away. He says, "What did you do?" You said you're going to save me. And then Ram was laughing. Remember, you offered me seed, you did not offer to mess. You need some massage. Then Ram did not say anything, but I could not recognize. You both look same. But the purpose he wanted to teach him a lesson. You have to worship and serve it. Prabhupada said, even when you are on the altar doing arati, some devotees comes, there's nobody to attend, put the arati down and go and attend the devotees. And same thing with Ramanujacharya. One time he went to one place. And then that place has his two of his disciples. One is a rich person, other is very poor Brahmin. So he sent his disciples to both of them. So they tell him that I was traveling, I came to place, I will visit both of them. The rich person, as soon as he heard, he was jumping. My guru came to my home. He's calling these people, that people, arrange this, cook this big feast, arrange this, decorate this. He's so busy. The servants said, "Oh, wonderful, he has so much of love." It's wonderful, they came back. And they also went and told the same person, the poor person offered him seed, gave him water. He took care of whatever he had it in the small hut. And both reported. When they both reported, he asked, "What did he do?" Then first person, he asked the poor person home, "What was the experience? How did he treat you?" He said, "Wonderful. He allowed inside. He didn't have anything. He had a small mat, broken a mat, and he offered us. They gave us water. Oh, wonderful. What about him? Oh, he was so jubilant. He was making so many preparations. That's all good, but how did he treat you?" He was so busy, but he didn't mean to that. He forgot us. Oh, okay. We're not going there. Love my God, love my dog, you love me. That's what the principle is. So it's the same principle here. So Lakshman was not offered seat, Ram did not like it. So he's Supreme God, he can recognize who is Wali, who is Sugriva. But he just nice pitai done, and then eventually he came to senses. And then that time, Ram said, "Okay, put him in a garland so I can recognize." You know the story. So eventually, again, he went back and challenged again. His wife Tara was actually a little thoughtful. Just imagine, I heard two strangers came to this land, and your brother, who challenged many times, next challenge he always took some time. But now he's asking to challenge, come to fight again next day. There's something, be careful. Sometimes you have to listen to her.
Sometimes.
Most of the time. Most of the time, especially if she's a devotee and thoughtful, intelligent. So even we saw that other day, Yaksha Prashna, who is your best friend in your journey? Is his wife. So Shastra says that. But parents also will come to a certain extent. Wife and husband of good friends, it's an amazing combination. The wife and husband are good friends, amazing combination. That person don't have to even take sannyas. He's sannyasi. If they have especially both are devotees, they were good friends. That's an amazing combination. So this Tara says, "Don't go." And then this person is mad. It doesn't matter. I am very powerful. I have this moon, this planet. Overrate me. Even if you bring 10 Rams, they cannot defeat me. He went back and he started killing. He started shouting. He was all kicking each other. Eventually, he shot him an arrow. Base fell dead. He's almost about to die. This is the interesting story. Story is nice, we all know. What is the principle here? And then Wali understood, oh, I was Indra. I came for the purpose, I totally. But at least he says, "I'm sorry, I could not serve you." But how is it possible? I heard you are a pious king. Why did you shot the arrow hiding behind the tree? Then he explained. he became an animal. Although you have an animal body, but you have a knowledge. How come you abduct your brother's wife? She became an animal. When a Kshatriya sees animal become a man-eater, they'll never come in front. Because it became a manipulative. It became a adharmic. It become duplicious. So that means I have to stand behind, and in the same way I have to kill you. So that's the reason shot there. And also, I'm not a stupid, but you have a boon. But whoever stand in front of you, and then their power will be transitioned to you, 50%. So that's the reason to avoid that, I stand behind. Okay, that's all good. But I heard that your wife is also abducted by Ravana. Ravana is not that important. That's not powerful. Vali is more powerful. One time, Ravana is so powerful. He was vacationing in some place. He stopped the water with his mighty power, the entire flow. Down the line, Vali was vacationing. When entire river was empty, who is this person? Audacity to stop the water. So eventually he found out this Vali. Ravana is doing it. He went there and kicked him, and then he tied him with his tail. Ravana, with almighty power, he could not defeat Vali. Vali is so powerful. He tied him under his tail. So now I'm more powerful than him. Why you didn't come to me? What my brother can help you? He cannot. I would have got your Sita right away. Important point here. He says, I follow dharma. I don't need your power. Even though you are powerful, but your brother, even though less powerful, but he's in dharma side. So more opulence, more power, more influence if it is not in the service of Krishna. So Krishna will not be pleased. There's another point. You liking the points? These are the points, lessons from Ramayana. Like how Ram exemplified. So should not, even though how much power a dharmic person, but even if the weak person, if he's a dharmic, we should take this side. That's what exactly happened in Mahabharata. Mahabharata 14 Akshohins, 18 Akshohins, 11 from Kauravas, 7 from Pandavas, almost 50%, let's say. They all know that Krishna is in Pandava's side. Why didn't they take it? Because they fear of Duryodhana, and they are mesmerized by the power of Dronacharya, Krupacharya, Bhishma, Salya, Karna, Bhurishrava, Valika, Bhagadatta, Aswadhama. All these are Thimangalas. They thought they can win. So that's the reason, even though how powerful may be, if they stand adharma side, they will be thrashed. That's the reason Ram said, I cannot come to you for help. I only come to Sugriva, he is novice. So this is like that. So like that, if you go towards that one by one, then eventually they all move to then other story. And then now rainy season started. They both become friends. He said, I'll help you to get your wife, but first you have to get me wife. So he got his wife. Then he got his kingdom. Wali is killed, and then Angada became prince, and Sugriva became a king, and then he got his wife back. So, but in the meantime, rainy season started. When rainy season started, they cannot go anywhere. So then Ram, living in a what do you call that? That's cave with the Lakshman. So waiting. Rainy season over, 4 months passed, no response. In the meantime, he became a king. He was enjoying with his queens. He was enjoying with his opulences. He's totally forgot, and that's where the Lakshman got angry. Then he went and demanded. He took his sword, and then he took his bow. It pulled the string so hard, it created tremendous amount of noise that created a fear into Sugriva. And then he came to senses. He fell feet, and I'm sorry, I totally forgot. So once in a while we needed that from Guru. Otherwise we think we are good, bindas. So time to time this Adi Kleshas comes, Adi Bhutava, Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik. Sometimes comes, otherwise we think we are God. we think we can control.
What
So
is these kleshas? Can you say the meaning?
Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika. This is the misery is coming from our own body mind. The misery is coming from other people. Misery is coming from the natural resources, like earthquake, too much heat, too much cold, too much from relatives, friends and families, wife and husband, children, neighbors, colleagues, boss. This is the other suffering. Other suffering, which is the first one, is through our own body, getting old age, diseases, and then now everybody has so many problems, and then mind. So these kleshas, as long as there is a material body, these kleshas are inevitable. But one who know how to tolerate them, go beyond that, then it doesn't bother them. That only happens when you have a pure devotion source. Otherwise, we are part and parcel of it. Right? So, where are we?
So Griva, right? Rainy season.
Yeah, ready to start. So then eventually he sent his troops, and then eventually you know the story. Everybody went, and then Ram trusted Hanuman, so he gave his ring. So he keep it with you whenever you see. He may not recognize you. Show him this is my what do you call that? Identity or emblem. So that went on. Eventually they found. Then again, there's four teams: north, west, south, and west. These people who headed by Jambavan, Angada, Nala, Nila, and then Hanuman. They came to the southern tip. So then that's where they encountered Sampati, who's the brother of Jatayu. So when they were Sampati about to kill these people, so when they were talking about Ram, they were talking about Jatayu also. So when he heard the voice Jatayu, oh, do you know Jatayu? Yeah. What happened? He was killed by Ravana in the service of Ram. Oh, you're Ram's servants? I'm also. I saw. So I can see, because these vultures is so powerful, eagle. So I can see right now Sita in the other side of the ocean, and that's where they concluded. Okay, Sita is the other side, and then how to jump. So everybody said, I can jump 10 yojans, 5 yojans, this 100 yojanas. That's 800 miles. So Angada said, I can go, but I cannot come back because I'll be energy. So Hanuman is sitting there right now. He said, he was waiting. You don't know his powers. That's where Jambavan started praising him, recognizing him. He says, then in the service Ram, he jumped. Then the other day we'll discuss about obstacles, what he went through, when his journey. Like, Surasu, like, there's so many things comes on his way to stop his journey. Eventually he was successful, he was determined. Eko Vikrunandana, he reached there. When he reached there, he was looking everywhere, he could not find. But he don't know what to do. It's a big city, you have to find. And that's where he remembered Ram and Ram's holy name. So when we are bewildered in this material world, to reconnect it to reality, holy name. Even Ramayana teaches. So when he chanted Ram's name, suddenly he got an idea. How is it possible? Sita is the wife of Ram. How can she live in a palace? So it got to be somewhere. Then that's where he got an idea. He went to the Ashoka Vatika, and then he found her. Long story short. So then eventually Ram came. And then you know the story. And then there's two things I wanted to say, two principles. Even if it's a devotee is offended, if it is a brother of Ram or wife of Ram, they have to pay the price. So when Lakshmana was chastised by Sita, because he chastised Ram, what did he say? Are you eunuch? Why you're not taking me? The same thing she also did to Lakshman, because Lakshman was not leaving her. Because a point is, go save Ram. He said, no, Ram cannot be touched. Nobody cannot defeat him. He was all Rakshasa Maya. Don't worry. So, but however, so Lakshman was said he was confident of competency of Ram. Sita was concerned about Ram. So that emotion is precedence. He was confident about the competence of Ram, but out of love, her concern became more. So she could not understand. Then because since she could not understand, she was telling go, go, go. He was not going. Then he says, you're looking for opportunity to enjoy me. That's the reason you're waiting for it. When he heard, he could not. He says, my mother, I did not even see anything. If I don't, he doesn't know how does Sita looks like. All look at her feet. Then with crying, he left. So now the same thing happened when Sita was brought back to Ram. And then now Sita says, I want my Sita. Sita is there. And she has to prove. What is that? Then other same thing here. When Ram tested Sugriva, second time before he put the garland, he had nice beating with his brother. Because why he offended? Lakshmana. Same thing here. It appears to be Sita offended Lakshmana. Because they are beyond, because just to show us what not to do. And then now, she has to go through the pain, separation. And also she has to enter the forest, fire. But we all know that Sita is actually not a real Sita. You know the story. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed this in South Indian Brahmin. You know the story. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu traveling from Jagannathpur to South India, he came to a place, Kurma Kshetra. The Kurma Brahmin was actually, Brahmin was there. He was a Ram Bhakta. When he's Ram Bhakta, every day he cooks, he thinks he entered into the Ram's pastimes. So now that day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he invited him for dinner, and he was there, he was cooking, but he's not feeding him. He's cutting vegetables, he's cooking, he just forget. Then he goes, no, Ram is stuck there, Sita is crying, how can I eat? If you don't eat, that's fine, but he called me for dinner. No, how can you eat also? What happened? So this is what happened. Sita was abducted. By looking at his sincerity, purity, and innocence, then he revealed. Till then, no one knows. And he revealed actually the Sita what abducted by Ravana is actually not Sita. It's a fake Sita, the imitation Sita, because Sita is supremely pure. And then see, with a little touch, she moved the Dhanasu, which 8,000 people cannot even move, and Ravana could not even touch. How can Ravana can touch Sita? She could have easily killed him. But to show this Leela pastime, she allowed. But however, that's Vedavati. You know the story of Vedavati? So one time, one king, see now I'm using Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita. So one time, one king, in olden days, in previous years, he has a desire to have Lakshmi as a daughter. Want to have a daughter. So he did a lot of austerities. Finally, Lakshmi Devi appeared. And then I want to have a daughter like you. So there's nobody like me. I have to be. So by looking at him, his devotion, this austerities she pleased, she became a daughter. So she took birth. And eventually when she was growing up, she's become very beautiful, manifesting all the symptoms of goddess of fortune. And then who can marry her? Vishnu. And then only Narayan, nobody cannot. But however, she said, I will do austerities to attract Vishnu's mercy. And then he said, okay. She went to the forest and she was sitting there every day meditating and doing a lot of austerities and a lot of yoga, meditation on Vishnu. One day Ravana is going in an aeroplane, which is he stole from Kubera. Because he kicked Kubera out from the golden city, Lanka. He stole his Viman also. So he was going, he saw this. When she saw this, so beautiful, so effulgent. And then she went approached. Because Ravana is also lusty. Whomever he likes, that's it. He used to rape, so even the lot of damsels of heaven. Well, I think one is Ramba definitely. So wherever he goes and capture, he has many queens. So still, he was lusty. And when he saw this lady, he came there and he was about to touch. He says, "Don't touch me. If you touch me, I'll become impure because I am meant for Vishnu." He didn't listen. Then he forcefully touched her, and then eventually she burned her entire body into ashes. Before said, "I will be the reason for your death." Then he was so lusty. Then he took the ashes. With his power, he wanted to bring it back life. We cannot, but he took it to his place, Sri Lanka, in a bowl, and then he showed it to his wife. When she saw his death personification. Then she said, take this, throw it somewhere else. This will be the reason for my husband's death, Mandodari, she says that. And then what they did, they come and throw in such a place. And that's where it fell in kingdom of Janaka. So when Janaka didn't have a children, so then that's where he did this yajna. That she became a girl, and that got caught in his bow, plow. So she came back, and she became a Sita. So that Sita, and in the meantime, that lady who's Padmavati, who's a Vedavati, is actually now Sita is there. She's also there, Vedavati, simultaneously. And then now she went into the fire, right? She burned into ashes. She went into the fire. She was with the fire. When Ravanasura about to catch Sita, crossing that Lakshmana Lekha, and then now she touched. So she cannot touch Sita. But what happened was this Vedavati came into the fire, and this Sita went to the fire, and from the fire this Vedavati came. The Sita went to fire, and from previous fire Vedavati came. That Vedavati was caught by Ravana, and she was there for 9 months. So that's when after war is over, and then now Lakshman brought her. This is Sita. No, I'm looking for my Sita. No one understands. She has to purify herself. Then Ram knows this is not Sita. She is a fake Sita. Fake is the wrong word, but imitation Sita. So now she entered into the fire, and then real Sita came, and this Vedavati went back to. But in the meantime, she had a desire to become a wife. She played a role of a wife in 9 months in Lanka, but she was not satisfied. So she came back as a Padmavati in Lord Balaji's. You know Lord Balaji in South India? So now she became Padmavati, Sridevi Bhudevi. So that she became a wife of. So now see how interrelated. Treta Yuga, Kruta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and then Kali Yuga. So many stories from Ramayana we can learn. What is the time? We can talk for hours, but I don't know how things. Yeah, Ramayana amazing. Wherever Ramayana is sung, it says Hanuman is there. When Hanuman is there, it brings a divinity, it brings a supreme auspiciousness. And I have no idea what I'm speaking, just coming off. I didn't plan, I didn't prepare. Whatever I spoke, I don't know. I'm grateful opportunity to speak. So like that, there's so many stories we can character of Ram, how he served his guru, how he served his elders, how he maintained his word of honor, word of what do you call that? Word of honor, vows, and then how he dealt each situation, whatever he said, whatever he did, that's what he said. And same thing is brothers, Bharat and Shatrughna, and same time with Lakshman. Same thing, Kevat, and then Guhya. And then there's one more thing I want to tell you. Then finally, before the war starts, Sugriva leaves Lanka and come in the shelter to take shelter from Ram. When he came there, Sugriva was there, Ram was there, Lakshmana was there, Hanuman is there, entire army was there. When Vibhishan came, so I'm talking to Vibhishan. So Ram looked at everybody. First, who is the senior most? Sugriva. Sugriva, what do you think? This is the final lesson for today. What do you think? He's asking. He's a brother of demon. What is he saying? Sugriva says no. He's Badabai like this. Sotabai will be much more. So now he's a demon. They may have a strategy. They may have some. We cannot trust these people. So we should not give shelter. Then he looked at Hanuman. Hanuman, what do you think? Hanuman says, my heart says this person is genuine. Because when I went there, when I was such a Sita, I looked everywhere. There's only one place the Ram Nam Japa was going on, his house. He didn't see me, but in Sushma Rupa I saw. His room, Ram. He was Bhakta of Ram. One day Ravana came. Why are you worshipping Ram? No, this is not the Ram what you think. This Ram means Ravana, Ma means Mandodari. Oh, okay, right, everywhere Ram. But he cheated him. So I saw him. At the same time, when I was brought to the court, and then they were trying to kill me. Then he talked. He said he cannot kill the messenger, Dhut. He also said good things. So I think we should pardon him. That's what Hanuman said. So Sugriva, what is intention? To serve Ram, to please Ram. What is Hanuman intention? So they both have same two different ways. One says don't accept, other says accept. What should Ram do? Sometimes happens to us also, devotees. And he says, then Lakshman says, what should do? What, forget about Vibhishan. Even if Ram comes and takes shelter, Ravana comes and takes shelter, I'll forgive him. That's where the famous Ramayana verse, what is that? Sakat Padyoyam Abhayam Sarvada Tasya Tasmat Abhayam what is that? Sakat Eva Prapannoyam Tamam Yavache Abhayam Sarvada Tasmai. I take a solemn vow that whoever takes shelter from me, even if they do abominable things, I'll forgive. This is my solemn vow. It's a famous verse in Ramayana. So, and then immediately looked at, this is the take home point. He looked at Sugriva, where he says, initially he said no, but now he did not feel bad that his idea was not taken. He never felt that he felt inferior. See Hanuman, his idea was taken. Did he feel superior? No. Did they ever talk about that later? Did Ram treated them indifferently? So now one simple principle, even though difference of opinion happened, misunderstanding happened, how three people dealt. So these are the principles we can learn. And then eventually war happened. So final story is that now Ravana is dead, is lying there on the queens, especially Mandodari comes. So I told you many times, you didn't listen to me. You have so many good qualities, but because of one bad quality for lust, entire other qualities became bad. And in that time, Ram told Lakshman, he's about to die, go learn something from him. Lakshman says, what? Should I learn something from Ravana? Yeah. He's a scholar. You can ask him. If you are a learner or a seeker, world is the arena. If you're a learner or a seeker, world is the arena. Every situation there is a lesson to learn. That's where the Krishna consciousness, there is a one lecture Govind Prabhu gave, becoming Krishna conscious before becoming Krishna conscious. Becoming conscious, because we are so rigid, madness, sometimes we don't even know. So here comes, Lakshman comes, stood at the head side of Ravana. He says, Ram, send me. He says, learn something from you. He says, what can I teach you? I'm about to die. The person is standing in my head side. He says, what can I teach you? The person who's standing on my head side. And Lakshman understood. He's a guru. Then he stood on the feet side. And Ravana gave a final lesson to Lakshman. I forgot the lesson. There was one lesson he taught what to do. It's a wonderful bhakti principle. But who is Ravana? He says, Jai Vijay. Yeah. But there's so many things we can learn. These small things, we don't get it from Ramananda Sagar, Ramayana. So you have to hear from the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Bhakti perspective. So that's the story. We all know the story finally ended. But this is the principles we can learn from Ram and his lifestyle, from his brothers, from his mother, from his all activities, whatever he does. So now we'll end here. So we'll open for questions and discussions, any questions, comments, or corrections.
I didn't hear the whole lecture, but from what I have heard, I have a couple of questions. So, Lakshman is the Adi Guru, meaning he is the brother of Ram, right? In Shastras, did they mention about Bharata and Shri Krishna? I mean, are there associates of Ram or Krishna in spiritual world?
Yeah, I think we missed it. So, in Chaturviha, Krishna became Balaram. Balaram expands into Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Vasudeva, Sankrishna. Again, there's an expansion, but Vasudeva. So this Ram is nothing but Vasudeva. And then Lakshman is nothing but Sankarshan. And then Pradyumna Anuruddha is nothing but Bharat and Satyugna. Is also Shanka and Chakra. Shanka Chakra is Bharat and Satyugna. And then our Guru Tattva, which is the Sankarshan, is Lakshman.
Yeah, I mean, from childhood I never heard a lot of stories about Bharat. I mean, I heard about the Bharat at least a little bit, that he approached Ram and asked for forgiveness and all, but I never heard about Shatrugna.
Yeah, we'll talk about one day Bharat Satyugna. So remind me in the future classes sometime. So Bharat and Satyugna, amazing what we can learn from.
I missed this piece also. Probably you said you were giving the reasons why Ram killed Vali from the behind the tree. Can you repeat those?
Yeah. So he was wounded, faced with an arrow, is about to die. Then he recognized that he made a mistake. He could have helped or served Ram like other demigods who took the path, different roads. Now he forgot. Of course, he says, at least use my son, Angada. The son represents father. So at least I live through him. So he said, okay. But he asked, why did you kill me behind bushes? First he said, you abducted your brother's wife. That's wrong. So he became an animal. That's only animal do. The responsible person who has some conscious about values, he will not do. So he became an animal. So that's an animal. If it is ferocious, if it is dangerous, nobody go in front. So that's reason, like Kshatriya, I stood behind the tree, bushes, I killed. First. Second thing is that I also know I cannot come in front of you. I'm not a stupid. Because you have a boon that whoever fight against you, after fighting for some time, that opponent 50% power will transition to you. So that's the reason to safeguard myself, I have to kill. And the third question, he says, okay, then you say, Sakala Gunabhirama, you are a wonderful living entity, a king, and a dharmic king, and then you could have come to me directly. Why did you go to Sugriva, who is less power to me? He says, like, he says story how I defeated Ravana, and then I tied him under my tail, and then he was suffocated. He could not. Then he made a truce. Okay, I leave my place. I don't come to you. You leave your place. You don't come to me. You both are powerful. Don't tell this story to anybody. So he was so humiliated. Huh?
Mine is yours. Yours is mine.
Yeah.
We cannot share
You
it.
cannot share something like that. So then he says, like, you could have come to me. When you come to me, I could have got you Sita. He says, yeah, I could have come to you. You are more powerful than Sugriva, but you are dharmic. So I will not come to you. Even though he is less powerful, he is a dharmic, so I come to him to save. That's a three. I think there's one more fourth part. I cannot remember. He gave one is behind tree, other tree, and dharmic. Yeah, something like that.
I think the other one is it's partially because he became an animal. Oh wait, no, you already said that.
Yeah. So those, yeah.
Who is Tara?
Tara is a wife of Vali.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And she is very thoughtful lady. She tried to save his husband, he didn't listen.
Okay.
It's like Mandodari.
Mandodari, exactly.
Didn't she oppose Vali like Mandodari did when Ravana abducted Sita? Like when Vali abducted his brother's wife.
Yeah, she also said, but he didn't listen.
It's animals, right? So they don't have any rules like humans.
So
So
Vanara
one reason
means,
I heard actually.
yeah, Vanara means neither, they're not a monkey, it's kind of a race. So in between human beings and an animal. So it depends on either behavior, they can become human, like behave like a human, they become human, like a Hanuman. So they can become an animal like a wali because he abducted, he didn't listen. So another thing, actually, what happens, you know the story. So when Dundubi, one demon came and challenged Wali because he's so powerful. He heard of Wali is very powerful. So they both were fighting in a cave. So for long time. So finally, before he went there, he left his brother Sugriva at the gate. So wait for me. Sugriva was very faithful to his brother. And this is going for a long time. And then eventually the blood came from the, and he recognized it could be from Wali. He thought Wali is dead. So then eventually big shout came, that is the other person's, and he thought he killed Wali. So that's his, it's misunderstood, and he closed the cave, the big rock. And then eventually what happened, reality is that Wali killed him, but he was so tired, and then that was his voice, because instead of he said, oh, like that. So when he came, the boulder was there, he could not move, but finally he moved it. Then he concluded that my brother wanted me to killed. So then he went back and saw. In the meantime, the days passed, months passed by, and then he became a king. Then when he came, he saw in his seat, he didn't even ask him. He was trying to explain, he didn't give him a chance to express. Then again, we should always give an opportunity for somebody to express what happened. He did not do that. So that was a big mistake. He learned in a hard way. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, fourth thing, I will remember. So, you made a big mistake, you are a king. The king is supposed to be a good listener. He's supposed to give a chance and choice to others. Your brother was trying to, see, thank you very much. Krishna is very merciful. I was playing inside, but what is that? I forgot one. What is it I forgot? It came as a king, your question. So, he tells the fourth point. The why I had to kill you from behind because of you lost your composure. You became an animal, and then you did not give an opportunity who made a mistake innocently to express what happened. Every time he comes to you, you're kicking him, you're chasing him away. That is wrong. You know, now you know that fourth.
Yeah.
One last question, like in the 14 years of Vanavash, when did Ravana abducted Sita? Like, is it 13?
Last year.
Last. Okay. Yeah, I thought so, but
14th year.
Yeah.
3 months passed, and the 9 months. So after 9 months, it's a few days war. Yeah, the last year.
Is there any significance to the number 14? Same thing in Mahabharata.
Yeah. What in Treta you got 14, Dwapara you got 13. I heard that.
But the linear they are in exile, right?
Yeah, that's cognito.
Coming to the 14 years itself.
Oh, not 13? Yeah.
12,
14 actually, that's the
no, it's 13. 12 years in the forest, 1 year in
13, I think.
Cognito. It's 13.
Kajal, do you have any comments, questions?
Sure, but I don't want to hang on me.
Okay.
This is off topic from Ramayana, but you had mentioned, did you mention Prahlad Maharaj? And this is really off topic, but how, when kids are so impressionable when they're young,
Yeah.
and we as parents try to impart our values from them. So I guess how was Prahlad Maharaj not impacted by Hiranyakashipu? Him being just I guess he was 5 years old, is that correct? So how was he not impressed by his father?
Yeah. So you have to know who is Prahlad Maharaj first. So Prahlad Maharaj in his previous life, he was a king because very lusty. He is addicted to prostitute, one lady. So one day, that lady said, "Wait for me," and then he was waiting. That was Ekadasi, and he fasted without knowing. That season, he got a next life as a Vaishnava, but in a demonic family. Because he had other things we did it. So he born in a demonic family. But however, when he was in mother's womb, she had a boon, because that time her husband, Kayadu's husband, went for austerities. So husband was not there when she conceived. But with his spiritual power, she holded the pregnancy. So the child had never had direct contact with his father during pregnancy. So eventually, when she grew up, all her association was Narada Muni. Indra came, tried to abduct her and kill her. The Narada Muni came, he interfered. No, this person is a Mahabhagavat. He's going to be the reason, the cause for his father's death. He's a Vaishnava, so don't kill him. So then he said, then what's going to do with this lady? So I'll take. So Narada took her to the ashram. Every day, after doing, but she was thinking about her husband. What is my husband? But now inside, the person who's listening to Narada Muni, he was narrating Bhagavatam. At one point, she sleeps, but this person, So that's how he was. Narada Muni is so powerful. He is highly elevated Vaishnava. His association, even a fraction of a second, became so many wonderful jewels came out. So now, because of his power, so even though his father, even though he has a past background, even though his mother is thinking about his husband, so this person was untouched. That's the power of samskaras, the power of the bhakti, power of association. So at the same time, somebody asked this question. She also heard Bhagavatam. The child is also heard Bhagavatam, but the intensity in which we hear is called laulyam. Intense greed for devotion service. Otherwise, if you do the surface, Krishna says, okay, he also reciprocated in a surface way. When you chant, when you do service, when you hear, when you read Bhagavatam, thank you very much, Radharani. I don't have any qualification. Give me the intelligence so that I can understand and apply and share with others. When you're hearing a lecture, not for time pass, I'm hearing a lecture, so it means the reason why you're telling me, I'll tell you that others. With that mood, if you hear, you remember exactly verbatim, word to word. Because I'm here, you are hearing for you. I'm hearing when I say you or you, whatever it may be, for your purification, your knowledge, which is good. That stays with you. But what you get out of it is a little. But when you are hearing in the mood of sharing with others, mood of giving this to others, it says that you should have a big bowl to receive the mercy of Radharani, who is giving a mercy like a rain. So the bowl should have holes. You're holding it but not retaining anything. You're giving to everybody. That should be the consciousness. When that happens, even one lecture here, that one lecture is enough to reveal entire Bhagavatam through that. Then one chanting, reading, hearing, association, you are empowered. So that you have to develop that laulyam, intense greed. That will burn Adi Bhautika, Adi Dhavika, Adhyatmika kleshas. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, and kleshas into ashes. That's the power of laulyam, intense. So it is not the quantity, it's the quality of japa, quality of devotional service in which you do. What is the mood, what is the objective of you doing? So that is so powerful, profound and sublime. Thank you.
On this point, Nalgovinda also says that the kripa of Narada Muni is on Prahlad Maharaj more than her mother, his mother. So
Okay.
that's how he became.
Yeah, he spoke about this past time, one day. It's all going to.
So even if a child is born with previous sukriti or samskara, then even what we do, a mother, father, it could be negative, could be obstacles. Will that change that child?
Yes.
That child is
Child has a free will. They have their own baggage. But however, the intensity of prayers, mother, is very powerful. It can change the child's destiny also. It creates an environment where it's not forcing child. It can influence the child. Like for example, if you love your mother is not here, maybe across the globe. But based on your prayers, Krishna will give mercy. That's what happened to
for the child.
Child and even mother also. It can happen to a child, it can happen to a mother also. It can happen to anybody. You can pass the mercy, you can become a carrier of the via media of Krishna's mercy. That's what happened.
Regardless of how old the child is.
Doesn't matter. So that's what happened to Dhruva Maharaj's mother.
Sunita.
Yeah. So that's the power of prayers. especially if you're sincere, if that prayer is selfless, not for you, for others. Krishna, it flood like a mercy comes. Like for example, my father, I don't know, he recently left. You know that I was in India
Oh, yes.
last year. So now I chant one round for my father wherever he is. So my first round I don't count. So Krishna, Radharani, please provide prasadam, shelter, basic needs, association, and opportunity to serve your devotees. Whereas this is my offering every day. So you can do that. I'm sure Krishna will take care of you. Yes, ma'am.
The one more lesson from Ramayana. Even though Hanuman is more powerful than Sugriva, still he serves as a menial servant
Yeah.
because of the promise he made for his guru, Suryadev.
Correct.
So still Hanuman is so much powerful than Sugriva. Right? That's one more thing actually. Like even how much grateful we are, we should not show it for everybody. So that's one of the lessons we can learn from Ramayana.
I'm sorry, grateful. Even how
Hanuman is more grateful than Sugriva also, but he always serves Sugriva.
right.
He always listened to Sugriva because he promised his guru that he will take care of his son Sugriva.
I see.
So that's one of the lessons. Like,
Oh,
we should not show it to anybody actually.
Right.
Whatever, how much power we have, but we should not show it to anybody. Like I am great and all. Like when the time comes, Hanuman showed actually.
Yeah.
Not like whenever he want to show it, like he'll do that. So
Hanuman actually saved Sugriva a couple of times.
yes,
in the
so
war.
yeah, right,
In the
exactly.
war, especially in the Kumbhakarna's children came. One was killed by Sugriva, and then that time Hanuman came and rescued.
Right. And also like the Kevat, there's one more pastime like when Lord is about to enter the boat, he doesn't want to take Ram into the boat actually. Because earlier like he already liberated Ahalya because she's in the form of rock. So he went and touched her and he liberated her. And rock became a Ahalya, like lady. And Kevat thought like if Ram touches his boat, if boat become also one more Ahalya, like one more girl. I lost my like daily earning because this is what my earning, right? So if I lost it, what will happen? So I don't want you to take in my boat. Then Rama showed them. He washed his feet, both wife and husband. They drank the water of Lord's lotus feet. Then actually Lord entered into
Yeah,
the
that's
boat.
his now the same story.
That was his intention actually.
Yeah, that was his
What,
intention.
what he said before,
Mm.
his intention was to
Take the lotus
Because
feet.
you know why? That's what he wants to touch Mahavishnu's
Yeah.
in the form of a turtle.
Turtle,
You know the
actually.
story. Turtle.
Yeah.
There was a turtle in Mahavishnu, Garbhodaka Mahavishnu place, ocean. So every time he comes, when Vishnu put a foot out, and then this turtle comes about to touch, Lakshmi Devi takes his foot back under the bed. And he said, "Oops." So one day I will touch his feet. So now the same turtle came as a Kevat, and he has to and then she need his help to cross the river.
Right. Yeah.
It's amazing, like
So
the
many
story
things are
within the
there in
story.
Ramayana, actually.
even one devotion for Hanumanji to Ram. One time Sita was pleased with his services and all. She gave her, pearl garden, and he's looking at that and just taking all the beads, motis out and throwing it away. And Sita was like, why are you doing this? He said, I don't find my Ram here. So that was his devotion.
And also one day Hanuman asked, why do you always put sindoor here? Because that pleases
So
Ram.
that's why he
So what he went and put sindoor entire body.
He jumped in a can of red paint.
And then Ram said, so Sita said, you are pleased when she has sindoor, so there's only one spot. I put an entire body. So innocence.
There's so many pastimes with Hanuman actually. Like
yeah.
there's one more pastime like when Hanuman is doing all the services for Ram. He's not giving chance to anybody, even Lakshmana or Sita and everybody. They all made a plan that all the service we'll take, we left no service for Hanuman. So Hanuman thought like, okay, there's one more service which will nobody took it actually. when Ram ends, someone has to do like this actually. That nobody took it. That way Hanuman was more closer than rest of them actually. Like so, even in the bedroom also Hanuman went and he will sat next to Ram. Sita was like, "Why you sat here? I don't know when Lord will actually end, so that I don't have to serve him all the time." So like nobody will separate Hanuman from Lord's Ram service. He's eternal. Like.
So Prabhu, we respect Hanumanji. Well, previously I would do Hanuman Chalisa, but now, the Maha Mantra. So we respect Hanumanji, right?
Yes.
But the primary goal is Maha Mantra.
Yeah, we respect Hanuman, but who is he? He's a devotee of Ram. So we worship also as a devotee. We can worship, so please help me also to serve Ram. But who is Ram is Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama.
Yeah.
So we'll end with one final thing.
Hare Rama, but Rama is Balarama.
Yeah, it could be Ram,
Okay.
it could be Sita Ram, it could be Balaram, it could be Radhika Raman. So 4. So one day somebody said Ram has a list on book which he keep it secret. So in that book, all his
Favorite devotees.
favorite devotees' names are there.
The who always remember Ram.
Who always remember Ram. So then you know the story.
No, I don't know.
So then when he went and asked Ram, so Ram gave this. He said, "Look, Hanuman's name was not there." He was confused. I thought everybody is there, but I was one among them, so I always remember you. My name is not there. He said, "I have another book, which whom I remember."
Yeah.
And then he gave the book. When he opened the book, Hanuman, 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 Hanuman. Nothing but Hanuman.
Yeah.
Sitaram ki.
Jai. Ramachandra
Ram
Bhagwan ki.
Jai. Lakshmana Hanuman ki. Bhatta Sadhguru ki.
Jai.
All glories to Sitaram. Ram Navami ki Jai.
Jai.
Mahaprasade Govinde.
Mahaprasade Govinda.